I'm lighthearted for this, and then I have to drive 60 miles down to Irvine to go pick up a truck for the weekend. So,
What kind of truck?
It's a Nissan Pro 4X.
Cool.
Perfect.
Yeah, we just got that in. We haven't driven it with the new powertrain yet, so I'm excited to see what that's like. We'll see.
I just saw one, so I'll definitely cover this in the show. I just went out to Colorado for like a long weekend. Uh-huh. I saw so many people towing with Frontiers.
Really?
Yeah.
Might be the only place on earth you can see that.
It was like, well, when I say so many people towing, it was like 5, and I was like, that's a lot.
Yeah. Wow, that is a lot.
That's 5 more than I've seen ever.
I also saw like 7 Subaru Tribecas.
That's unfortunate.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like no, that's a car. Like, and I saw one here in town in Kansas City, and the other 6 were in Colorado.
The thing about the name of that car is it's such a weird juxtaposition of like Subaru and like one of the trendiest and hipsteristy places in New York City.
It doesn't add up.
Right.
The most like ill-named car ever.
And it was the least appealing for the demographic that probably lives there.
Right? They're like, oh, I need hairy armpits to drive this. So yeah, like
which is funny because they probably meant to sell that to like my mom who recently bought a Subaru Ascent like last year. Like, but that's probably the demo they were looking for, and not Robert De Niro and his like wanky loft. Yeah.
Probably not.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have to remember that for those like random questions that people are like, "What's the worst named car ever?"
Well, it's like.
That's a good one.
It has the Jag, the E-Type, or no, the S-Type grille too. It has that like super small.
Oh yeah.
Like
with like the bug eyes on both sides.
Yeah. Clarkson always called it like the Hitler grill on the Jag.
Yeah, I can't unsee that.
So as soon as I saw it on the Tribeca, I was like, yeah, that's there.
That design / marketing team from Subaru is long gone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They were just like, sorry, this isn't going to work out.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, right.
Sorry.
So,
nice.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You are our 4th Montero or Mitsubishi owner in a row now.
I love it.
Yep.
And we haven't.
Oh, in a row?
In a row.
Like we haven't meant to do this. It's just kind of like, so. Well, maybe not completely in a row. I think Emmy Hall just has experience with Mitsubishi, so like she's not
close enough.
You guys need to get out more.
Yeah.
Well, also that.
We had Jeff on, obviously, since he runs our website. With
the $1 million Montero.
What was that?
That's what his is turning into very quickly.
I said the $1 million Montero.
Quickly. It's
comment.
Mine's not that much money.
No, but yours looks nicer.
Yeah, it does. Well, he's definitely like kind of hooned his out a little bit. He definitely wants to, he's kind of got like that kind of rally guy thing going on. Like
the wheels tell the story.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we should be saying all this when we're on the air, but mine's pretty stock.
He did jump his, so.
Yeah, well, that's because he's stupid.
I'm going to go ahead and leave that in.
I'd tell him that to his face.
He knows. It's okay.
The best part is Jeff's aware. Like he knows.
Oh, yeah.
It's just not, I think, I've always been like hearing more and more like women are just better drivers because we're just not dumb.
Say those that pay attention. Yes, I'll agree with that.
Like if you want to protect a car, have a lady drive it.
Yep. My guy friends in the automotive world have much less mechanical sympathy.
Yeah. What's that noise? I don't know. It'll go away.
The knocking noise? Yeah, it'll work itself out.
That's fine.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
It works itself out when shit falls off.
That's right. Totally.
Is that your phone?
Was that my phone or was that your phone?
I don't have an iPhone, so it wasn't mine.
My computer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just got an email, guys.
Chris, your face looked like your computer like blasted you with sound.
Well, because it was a
problem with Zoom is you can't turn off the volume of like all the other business that you have going on your computer, like you can your phone. So I apologize. I don't get a whole lot of emails. It's mostly from Domino's.
All good.
Domino's Pizza.
There's worse places to get emails from.
So yeah, we had Jeff and his Montero. We had Andrew Collins last week in his Montero. So we have you with your Montero. And then we had a guy who owns a company called Brio. They do like fire pits, and then they do some like overland camping. It's called like Outpost, and it's literally this giant stainless stick and this giant stainless grill that you can put over a campfire, and it has a way to like drive it into the ground and then lock it, so it's really stable. But he had a Delica. Get out. And he had it long enough to realize that he had already too many kids to turn it into the overland camper. And so he sold it. As long as he had it was very short, but like it was still more Mitsubishi people. Like,
and we got Farrah coming on, and Matt's got one.
And yeah, and
Matt's he's got a great one. And Aaron Robinson, who did that Normandy trip with me, he also is a Montero owner.
Is he really?
Oh my God.
He has a 2.5 gen, I think. So
that's what Collins has, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't Aaron also have a plane?
Aaron has so many like motorized vehicles. He does have a plane. He has a 177 Cardinal, Cessna Cardinal. But yeah.
Casual.
He also has like a 1930s pre-war Austin 7.
That's kind of rad.
The guy's got some cool, it's so funny. You go on a drive with him, like, with a bunch of different cars, and it doesn't matter how fucking sweet the rig you are in. Like, if he's driving near you, no one will see you.
He'll trumpet.
Because everyone's like, what is that?
Right.
And he's in his little, like, helmet and his little goggles, and he's like, nee. This little, like, fucking race car, and you're just like.
And he can always just say, I have a plane. There's also that.
You basically need to roll up with Leno, and something from Leno is the only way.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I don't know. Aaron may out nerd Leno.
He might. I mean, it's pretty awesome. Like I really dig like just being around like the sort of the instant like Encyclopedia Britannica history lesson that is like all those guys. I mean, Johnny Lieberman, same way. Like, God, that guy, no, he's going to forget more like tomorrow than I will ever know in my life. Like, it's so amazing, his encyclopedic knowledge of cars. And I'm, still trying to figure out how many generations of Frontier there are, it's
right.
So.
I hear you.
Well, it's not a big number.
Well, I know, right?
It's a very small number, actually.
Is it 3?
I don't know.
I think it's not.
All I know is this generation has been around for a long time.
Along with every other Nissan product.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Almost, but basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, the Pathfinder as it exists now, I think I was at the North American Auto Show when it debuted, and that was like 8 years ago.
Gotta be like 2012 or 2013.
Yeah, I think it was 2012.
That thing is like beige on wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's not
like,
great.
No.
From what it was before, it was this kind of square-looking awesome thing.
Super capable, hard body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like awesome.
I had an uncle who swore by him. Like at one point, I think they owned 3. Like.
Wow, that's dedication.
Yeah.
Currently?
Well,
like
no.
All at the same time?
Well, they at least had 2 at the same time, and I think one had an accident, got replaced with another one. But. Yeah.
I do think that the Xterra is boss. Like I would get one of those. I'd get a 2nd gen Xterra for sure.
2nd gen with a stick?
I looked at that.
I'm not bored with that.
Yeah, I looked at that for sure.
Ross, would you rather have an Xterra or an X-Runner?
In my current life, I That's a good question.
Or high school Ross.
This week, probably an X-Runner because
still the X-Runner.
Drift truck next week and probably forever an Xterra.
Yeah.
So in addition to the Robinson airplane, they also have a hangar out.
Sounds like a brand
in Moab. Seriously, they have a hangar out in Moab. And the Montero lives out there, so they fly out there all the time, and they invite a bunch of us like hanger-oner people. And me and Aaron and this other guy Bob, who also he flies an experimental plane. All three of us, we just went in on a Suzuki XL7.
Nice.
Yes.
and we're
just totally, for moving around out there.
No, yeah, we're totally we're overlanding it out, and we're gonna send it out to Moab, so it's just another vehicle that we can just go fuck around.
I don't think I've thought of the XL7 in like 5 years since it came out.
I see one in traffic every now and then. I'm like, those still exist. Like.
This thing we got, and Aaron, I don't know, Aaron could start like a business or an app where he just like hangs out on Craigslist all day and finds amazing fucking cars for people. He found this XL for like, I don't know, we paid like $2,000 for it in Phoenix, and it had like 70,000 miles on it, and it's pristine. I mean, this thing is like clean as fuck. It's crazy.
Holy shit.
Like a grandma who drove it around for like, I don't know, garage the whole time. Like, there's nothing wrong with the paint. He's like, the underbody is like, it's immaculate.
So it's like, is it a V6?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming automatic if it was a grandma car.
It's an automatic. Yeah, it's totally an automatic, which is fine. You know, off-roading. I'm not a super fan of off-roading with a manual anyway. It's just something else to think about.
Overrated.
But yeah, it's so funny. It's like it's nuts. And
it's a great investment.
Like, why the hell did we do this? And we're like stoked.
Because can't believe there was a second generation of that thing. Well, and the headlights are so awkward.
It's really like, but here's like the incredible thing about it. When you get inside that car, there are so many like really thoughtful things about the interior that you just would not have like expected.
Such as?
So you know the side door handle that has like it doesn't go all the way through, so you can put your phone in it. And I mean, I know that's not what it was made for, but like I love that. Like that thinking was absolutely like ahead of its time. For your
convenient now, weird back then.
Now. It has
3 rows of seats.
Ours does not.
Okay.
Like there's an optional third row that you could have gotten with it. I would not do that to any human being, but it has the outlet in the back, like, you know, so you can plug in whatever stuff in the back. I'm like shocked and so surprised. I was like, there's a lot of good stuff about this thing.
And it's a swing open tailgate.
Yeah.
This is the start of the XL7 bubble.
Well, we've been talking about this stuff for a while because like the Land Cruiser has a tax on it, like Jeep has a tax on it, like those prices go.
Especially here.
So what else could you go? And we have never talked about the XL7.
You know what? There's a place that does a lift kit for it, and they do skid plates for it. So we're putting lift on it. We're putting like 31, 32-inch tires on it.
Oh my God. Might be the only modified XL7 in the world.
It's not. There's a community. I'm not kidding. It's small, but it's out there.
I mean, I've been in some pretty weird communities like that. I believe it.
It's like the Sidekick, Suzuki, like Vitar, like the whole, it's like a family thing. Like you're kind of in that posse. Yeah.
Oh my God. This is such a strange vehicle.
Suzuki XL7 off-road, the images that come back are fantastic.
No, man, I'm on Wikipedia, and once upon a time in 2007, they built a Pikes Peak hill climb XL7.
Yes.
So,
Is that one lowered then?
I don't know, man. It looks like a fucking like vacuum cleaner.
Should we start the show?
Yeah, probably.
All this good material.
No, I'll leave. We recorded all of that, so I'll just.
Yes. Yeah,
It's a soft open, a very soft
I
open.
love it. Yeah, we're just gonna ease into things.
The last couple have been kind of awkward as we've led into the show, so I've had to actually go in and delete some of them out. So I think I called
Chris
my
may
kid
have
an
frozen.
a-hole in one of them. So.
The funny thing is, we've been fighting the freezing and minor technological issues since the beginning. Oh, now you're back.
No, here's the
Did you
best
hear
part.
us?
I'm recording. None of that dropped. For whatever reason, for you guys, I freeze, but yet I get to hear both of you go, "Oh, look, his internet sucks," but it still records.
Your video quality has become amazing, but your internet still sucks.
Oh, I've switched to a different camera.
I see that.
That's why it's also up here and not down here at the bottom of my laptop like it normally is. So
I need to get on that game. Oh my god! Okay, that's enough XL7s for the rest of my life.
Yeah, you're jealous.
Nope. Have you been to the marketplace yet?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm out. I'm tapping out.
I'm out. Well, when we get the rig done, I'm coming back on the show, and
you should.
I can show you guys what.
I mean, Moab's only 21 hours away from me. No, that's not true.
Right.
16 hours. I could get there.
Yeah, that's right.
Which, yes. Okay, I'm gonna start the show.
Okay.
Welcome to the Off the Road Again podcast. I'm Chris.
Ross.
I'm Lynn.
And this is our podcast about anything and everything off-road, rally cars, whatever. As always, we're socially distanced. We did it before it was mandated. I'm still in the Midwest, Ross in the Northeast, and Lynn is in California.
That's, according to my calculations, that is over 6 feet.
Yes.
Still a little.
It's all the time zones. Like we just...
That's right.
Most of them.
Sorry, Mountain, you don't count. I was there yesterday morning. Does that count? Like
here?
No, Mountain time zone. I would.
Oh.
No. Yeah, I did California and back in a half a day. Pretty
impressive.
Sweet.
There's another half cannonball record.
Oh God, no, thank you. Unless it's the fully electric one, that's the only one that I'm really paying attention to anymore.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Jeff Glucker did that in an e-tron.
Yes, he did, and I
smelly e-tron, no doubt.
Not even a question.
Oh man,
probably less smelly than Bowman and Alex Roy's Morgan trip, though.
Well, that's open air. How could that be smelly?
Well, the smells they smelled, not their own inherent smells.
Okay. Yes.
Sorry, that was
No, that's great. That was crazy. Good story though.
Good story.
Really good story.
Okay, do we start with the actual news?
Yeah, actual news.
We haven't had news for a long time.
and now we're like getting hit with nonstop news. So
which, as I was editing it'll be the episode that comes out tomorrow, but for these guys, it'll be last week's episode. As I was editing it, we talked about a specific type of vehicle, and then literally the next day, that was revealed. And it wasn't Bronco.
What was it?
It was the Durango SRT Hellcat.
Oh,
we talked about the SRT, but we were like, no, Hellcat doesn't exist yet in that. And literally, Dodge was like, no, here you go.
No,
we knew that was going to happen.
Up your editing.
I got to drop in some media video that they provided and make a note that said this was literally debuted the next day.
Bam.
So, but Bronco, forever.
Bronco.
Oh man, Bronco is so huge. I was just talking to Emmy Hall, who I think you guys have also had on your show.
Yes,
and
recently.
She and I both are like, oh, we're going to be talking about this for a while.
Forever.
Yeah.
So
it's the only thing we've talked about.
The best part is this show will release 2 days after it's supposed to be revealed for the third date.
Oh wait, on the 13th?
Yeah, 13th. So it's supposed to debut the 13th.
So do we get to talk about what we've seen and heard?
We could. Oh,
that's up to you, because
we
know that We know about people who have images, but they won't share them with us just in case Mike Levine somehow sneaks into our Slack chat.
I have the image of the 4-door.
I do too.
I don't know. I swore secrecy. I can't talk about anything. Your discretion.
That's right. But I'm excited.
I'm
It's
assuming
good.
it looks like
It's
what
really
we
good.
all think it's going to look like.
Yes. Yeah. But then you get to see the numbers on it and you're like, oh,
Oh, really?
okay.
Okay,
As
that I
in-
haven't seen.
Power numbers or financial numbers?
Yeah, it's how much it costs. Surprise, it's 80.
Oh. No, financial numbers, specs on the car, just what it's capable of, and power stuff.
So all the types of numbers.
Just all the numbers.
All the things and the numbers and the stuff.
Oh man, it's gonna be like a national off-road holiday on the 13th. And
Yeah.
everybody's
Pretty
finally like,
much.
okay, we know what it is, and that's it.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's crazy. So I have to ask you guys, like, what do you think about Ford and their big reveal? They're doing it on like ESPN and the Disney Channel, and I think
ABC.
like a big, like, it's like LeBron and The Decision. Like this is
That was
huge.
10 years ago. That was like exactly 10 years ago too.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 11. I don't know. My only concern is that it may take away and completely detract the excitement and the huge reveal factor of going to and being at the auto shows.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they're in business to sell cars.
For the world we live in now, it makes a lot of sense. Like, there's nothing on. Like, I just got the email from YouTube TV that was like, hey, in August, we're going to bump it up $20 a month. And I was like, the only reason I keep you is for sports.
There's no sports.
So
Nothing.
peace.
Thank you.
There's F1. There's F1.
Yeah, but like,
Oh, on YouTube?
well, it's YouTube TV is basically like cable, but through the internet.
Oh, okay.
So, like,
you could subscribe to the Kelly Blue Book YouTube channel.
I mean, yes. I may have already done that today.
Yay! Yay! One
The-
more follower.
The glory of the digital stalking, it always happens.
That's awesome.
But seriously, you can watch race highlights.
that
That
was
one's kind
better.
of boring anyway. Like,
No, you're wrong.
What? No, yeah, I'm with Ross.
Thanks.
until Lewis's 5-second penalty, it was a Mercedes 1-2 finish again.
Lewis,
And even his penalty was kind of like,
yeah.
like a 20-second penalty, and they should have done it right away and put Alex right back up at the front.
right.
Yeah.
But didn't he had to
That's
retire?
such a gray
right?
area.
This is like an off-road show, and we're talking about Formula One.
I know. I could talk about F1.
I saw a lot of
forever.
F1 cars in the gravel. That counts. That's off-road.
That's us.
There were a lot of F1 cars not on the track.
I mean, Grosjean literally did it by himself.
I know, right?
He always does, though. Like there's
That's not true.
no
Normally he takes
abnormalities
somebody with
here.
him.
Like half the time. Half the time he just has his own little issues. We should.
Anyway.
Well,
Bronco.
Bronco.
That's how long we've been talking about Bronco, that literally the reveal is less than 4 days away now, right? And we're already bored with it and would like to just see it and play with it and move on.
Yeah, I feel like the lead up to it has been really protracted, and one doesn't ever want to see that, but I guess for such a highly anticipated vehicle, okay, I suppose I'll give him a pass, but get your act together, guys. Come on.
I think the only part where there was like the get your act together thing was the OJ's birthday thing. That was like, probably could have avoided that before it got to the point of having the date.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in ad agencies before where we don't try to remember whose birthday we're releasing stuff on. That's kind of like,
that's a big one, right? I mean,
You're right.
like people literally thought that car was discontinued because of that event, because of that incident. And they're like, we just don't like the association with that, that dude.
Mm-hmm.
And so, maybe that would have been something good to just to check on.
Get that
But
out there.
maybe there's just a lot of really young people in the PR and marketing department who don't even they just think OJ is orange juice.
Yeah, they weren't alive when that event happened.
Exactly. So we should give them a pass too, I suppose. I don't know.
Fair.
That's
Fair.
one of the reasons I knew it was time to retire from teaching is when the students weren't alive for 9/11, and I was like, oh, I've gotten much older.
Wow.
And I taught middle school, so they weren't like kindergartners.
God.
Like these were like 12 and 13-year-olds, and I was like, they don't know what we're talking about.
Ancient history. Weird.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Speaking of ancient history, the Wrangler's getting updates.
It's not that ancient. Lyn can comment on the Wrangler.
What's it getting?
Basically the same thing that every manufacturer tries to do, which is lower trims get higher trim things standard now.
Oh.
Like technology, it's called technology pack. Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be like the Apple CarPlay and the safety features and all that kind of stuff.
Bigger screen on the base level on the Sport or Sport S.
What's the difference between Select Track and Command Track?
Command Track is 2-wheel drive, and then you can select forward, 4 low, and I think Select Track is full-time 4 high with a 4 low option, maybe?
Sure.
Well, I don't know.
I had an 04 Wrangler. It had 2H, 4H, and 4L. That was it. And I pulled the lever. It was.
Yeah.
Right. That's all you need.
I knew what I was doing.
Things are a little different on these new trucks. Yeah. You can get a forward-facing camera.
Has that not been a part of anything so far? The forward-facing camera?
Just Gladiator.
Really?
Yeah, I've used it on the Gladiator. It also has a windshield wiper on it, so you can clean it off. It has
really?
On the camera?
Yes.
That's
so
amazing.
A spray thing and a wiper, so you can clean the dirt off.
Does it have a tiny little rubber blade that goes like the headlights on old Volvos?
Yeah, and then I tried to video it because I just took a Gladiator out to Moab and went down into the maze. It was actually
that's amazing.
Amazing.
That's amazing.
Amazing. And yeah, we used it. It worked fine.
Is it a wiper arm or the jet of something?
No, it's the jet. It's a sprint. Like that. And I tried to shoot it with a camera and it just didn't really read. But those cameras, they're not there yet for me.
It's higher up than I expected it to be on the front.
Yeah, it's up there.
I'm still gonna get out and look at what I'm driving over if I don't know. I'm not gonna trust a front camera.
So
I think we both had different thoughts at the same time.
Yeah. You go ahead.
So the only experience I've had with a camera like this was on an F-150, but it was on Ford's proving grounds, and they used it to show a steep incline and the ability to know if you can't see over the hood to see what's at the top of the incline, this camera could provide you with some
part of the fun
visual to know where you're going. Ross was just wreck it, man. So
it makes it challenging.
I liked the controlled instance that I participated with it. I liked it a lot because literally on the incline it was steep and I couldn't see anything, and I was driving their vehicle. So if it was my vehicle, I'd want that too. But this.
So to that end, how do you feel about hill descent control?
No vehicle. Well, I was about to say no vehicle I own has it, but I do have a 4Runner that has it.
Yeah, it didn't work very well on the 4th gen 4Runner. On the 5th gen, it was a lot better. On the 4th gen, it was kind of not great.
I have it on a 4th gen too, so that's probably not great.
It seems odd to me because I feel like the people who would trust it to work don't want to use it, and the people who need it would never trust it to work.
Or just probably shouldn't be in this off-road situation in which they're relying on it in the first place.
Right.
Hill descent control to me is 4 low and first gear.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of it's one of those weird things. But
Yeah, I don't know. My only issue with the camera is if you're in a situation where you actually need to rely on that, the camera gives you a view of what's ahead of you, but it doesn't really give you like a frame of reference or a reference point of where the vehicle is in relation to it. It's just, okay, this is right below me, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, that, like I said, the resolution or like the depth perception in it the tech needs to get a little bit better for me.
Mm-hmm.
A spotter's always going to be better than
Always, right? Like eyeball. Yeah, always.
eyeballs and actually being able to
That's right.
hand gestures that can be seen too.
Yeah, and that most of the time aren't listened to, unfortunately.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
But-
man, we have all kinds of updates today. We have 4.
Yeah, we have 4 on our updates too. Which I don't know.
What are they doing to the Forerunner? You guys know more than I do. What are they doing to the Forerunner?
You had an article to write today. We did not.
I did. I was busy.
Forerunner gets minor updates. So LED headlights and fog lights on all of the models.
Okay.
The TRD Pro has new wheels, which look exactly like the outgoing wheels, but are apparently stronger, like they say, quote unquote, more rigid and have a deeper dish. Which
So they like
look almost the same.
The alloy.
I don't know. This is quoting them. And then they retune the shocks. And the coolest thing is the coolest update is only just the name of the color that is being brought up. So they got rid of Army Green because it's apparently like that 1 year only, special color.
Oh, yeah.
And the new color is called Lunar Rock, which is a cool name.
That is cool.
It's a nice gray.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's kind of a little bit of a green tinge to it, but it's a nice gray.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see. I hope it like shifts a little bit as you change the light.
The only problem with it is it's also available in the RAV4 TRD off-road. So you have to share your special color with the RAV4.
Yeah. And all the other TRD Pros.
And the Sequoia and the Tundra. And
they kept the FJ roof rack, which is needless. So there's that.
I saw...
Love you, Toyota. Don't hate me.
Does the TRD Camry come in that color too?
Oh, God.
Oh, man. Okay. I kind of like the TRD Camry.
I've seen them on the street, and I'm actually like, whoa.
Yeah, the black roof, and like it doesn't look completely like a front drive nothing car anymore. Like the proportions got a little better. I don't know. I'm not really ashamed to say it.
Camrys look good. What do you? There's no shame in that.
Yeah, the TRD looks kind of cool.
They all have
it's got some dope stuff on it. I'll say that.
Well, isn't it? It's over 300 horsepower, isn't it?
I don't know what the horsepower is.
Sure. I think the V6 is like right around there.
Oh, stupid. I had it already. Why'd I hit another button? 301.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
For a car that only weighs 3,500 pounds, like that's good. Like
that is more powerful than probably 85 to 90% of the vehicles I've ever owned. It's a Camry.
More powerful than any of the vehicles I own. So there you
go. I only beat it with the 5.7 and the Sequoia. The V8 4Runner makes 30 less horsepower. When it was new, it's now 15 years old, so probably not making 270 anymore.
No.
That's kind of sad. The Camry destroys the 4Runner.
That's okay.
Technology moves on. Our entire fleet takes them all out.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So I have no personal... Except for what, Chris? Except for the Sequoia, which will smoke it. Yeah.
Yeah, the Sequoia is like 381, but even that's 12 years old now. Yes, you did not add any.
I have literally nothing to report on my own personal development project update front.
So, I crammed. So we have family that live west of Vail, and so we decided to take this longer weekend and go see some of them. And we left Friday and we're there Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and came back Tuesday. So like, we probably needed to do one more day there for the full day of driving. 4 days probably would have made it seem a little more relaxing.
It's a lot of driving to turn around.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was the first time that we've had the Sequoia out longer for like a long road trip, and Lynn, I have 4 kids. My oldest is 12. My youngest just turned 2. So
Damn, busy.
yeah, it's all right. Pandemic has slowed down the extracurriculars a little bit. So it's really, and we've got to have a lot of time with them, which
That's awesome.
from what I've heard from people who don't have kids, they're like, how could you do that? And I was like, no, it's fantastic. They distract each other. You actually get more alone time, like, because they're all here to bug each other.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who just have one kid. They're not as happy.
Oh, no, they're
Oh,
doomed.
God.
Like, that kid's going to be
Like
constantly
Jeff.
going, mom.
They're doomed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Glucker right now.
So
He just cracks another beer and goes for it.
Right.
But he just puts her in the car in the reviews, which is hilarious. So
That's true. And Sloan is probably the one going and getting him the beers anyway. So
that does add up. She's old enough now and smart enough that she could definitely handle that.
right.
Yeah.
Your dad.
Right.
So I tried to get a cargo carrier for it. Like, I literally, so we knew this trip was coming early July. I started ordering stuff in like mid-May. The first one that showed up had a giant crack in it. The second one didn't even get delivered to me. It was damaged on the way. And so I had to go with just like what I had around. And my dad had a hitch basket that he had used previously for Colorado trips. And so it had a waterproof bag that like has these, I don't know if they're like pins, but like you put it through the hole and then it would turn it wide. And then the bag itself would like pull taut. And so it would hold
so
against.
it fills up the width of the basket.
It fills up the whole basket, and then the baby stroller was the perfect width. We have it's kind of like an off-road stroller. So you take the wheels off it, and the stroller itself was the same width as the basket. So even that helped more with holding the bag, the whole width of it. So I filled that with all kinds of crap that comes with like baby stroller, hiking backpack.
Cannot imagine.
The potty, because the 2-year-old is potty training. And I didn't want that in the car, so it was much better back there. But then like baseball gloves, shoes, like all the random crap that ends up inside the vehicle, I just kept it all out there in that bag.
And just trasharoo for the back.
Exactly. But this is like, I treated it like a trasharoo, but like that can hold a stroller. Like trasharoos are normally kind of smaller.
That would be so funny.
Yeah.
It's just full of diapers.
Oh, no. Those go in actual trash cans. That's just mean to people. So we had so much, because of that, I didn't have to pack like the back all the way to the top. We packed kind of light for only 3 days, but like I had our bags in the back, and I had her, she sleeps in a pack and play when we travel. So like I had that in the cab, because just in case the bag got wet out back, I didn't want where she sleeps to get wet.
Right.
So I kept that inside, but I was able to do it in a way that like I could still see out the back mostly. Everybody had leg room. Like nobody was like completely had stuff on top of them, which we've done that trip before. Last year we did it with a 2013 Highlander, and that trip was miserable for some of the people in the back.
Not the size, yeah.
Yeah. And it was the first year that we'd had 4 kids, and so like we had to learn from that experience to go bigger.
There you go.
But the 5.7 V8 and the 6-speed transmission were amazing on the highway. We did not get great gas mileage because it's a thirsty V8, but I've driven a 2003 Yukon XL back and forth to Colorado like 10 times, and that had the 6.0 in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was since 2003, but like every time you'd ask that truck to get up on the highway, I think it only had a 4 or 5-speed transmission. It was not.
Or L60E.
Yeah, it was not thrilled with getting up on the highway. Like even downhill in the Midwest heat, because we always take these trips when it's as hot as possible here. So when we get out there, it's
AC on full blast.
Yeah. That Yukon XL hated every trip out there and back, and to the point where I was replacing water pumps like every time we got back. Like,
how many miles were on this truck?
By the end, 248.
Okay, that explains everything.
And I think I got like 2. I know I did 2 water pumps and a mechanic, and I did 1 myself. The last one I did myself, but like I don't know if it was the altitude or what was getting to that truck and that engine, but this Sequoia is at 183,000 miles and never Like, you know that when you on a hot day when you hear a truck moving and you can almost hear the intake noise of the fan, and like it never made any noise that was loud enough to notice, like until you got to like 4,000 RPMs kind of thing. Like it spent the day a little over 2,000 RPMs, 90-degree heat both ways, and just didn't care.
Can't beat
And
that.
it was fantastic and so driving it, like I have noticed a lot more Sequoias because I'm in one now, and I'm like, man, people are buying these like crazy. And then you remember they literally haven't changed the body style for 12 years.
Like a Morgan.
Yeah. You're like, man, Morgans are everywhere. It's the same car for 60 years. Like,
so the Nissan Xterra model.
That's right.
Yeah. And it's just like, I've got enough research in me now that I'm like, all right, I kind of know, like that one's newer than 2012 based on headlights. But you can't.
I have to say that's such a fun exercise. Like I try and do that with Porsches all the time. I'm like, oh, it has a this and a this. That's a that. Or
You see,
with like G-Wagons. I'm like, oh, what's my indicator? What's like the one indicator of the new gen G-Wagon? The rounded doors. Like,
is that what it is now?
That's the new one. I mean, that's the one I look at. Like on Jeeps, it's like the new grill, like right.
The headlights. Yeah.
I love that game.
Yep. You see Porsches enough to actually play that game.
Oh, they're like, yeah. They're like,
you do too. You're in Connecticut.
Like Ultimate here.
I only see them when I go to Greenwich, which is once every 3 months.
Oh,
otherwise,
I'm in the county in Kansas that no one knows about, and unless you're like super wealthy. So we have them all the time here.
Yeah.
But everyone thinks we're flyover, so I'm like, it's okay, keep flying over.
Bye.
So, long story short, the Sequoia was a freaking champ, and of course, I'm going to talk about it, and now something will happen to it because that's how the world works.
No, you'll be fine.
Good mojo with that.
Oh, I literally, when we pulled into the driveway last night, I got everything out of it, and I walked over to it, and I patted it, and I thanked it because
that's so cute.
I don't fully believe in that stuff, but like, it felt like it had done a job, and it deserved a reward.
So you got to wash it now. Wash it and change the oil.
I did that today because 4 kids in a truck for multiple days.
I really can't imagine. Really can't.
There was at least half a bag of Cheetos, part of a bag of Funyuns, definitely some Tostitos scoops that I don't even know where they found them, but were opened and eaten. None of the fruit that was in it to come back was dropped anywhere because they didn't open those containers.
I was going to say, because they ate all the snacks instead.
Can I come over and go grocery shopping in your Sequoia, please?
Right?
Sure. Yeah.
Probably like as much leftovers as I have in my pantry.
There were definitely some blue gummy sharks and some gummy dinosaurs. That I call them Kid 3.0 when I talk about them on the internet or anywhere. I number my children for public distribution, but 3.0 left stuff everywhere. Like
Chris, you're not really selling the go have kids thing.
Yeah, man. This isn't helping.
There's 7 billion people in the room. You do not need to do more kids. Like I'm the example of what not to do.
Okay, good.
I love all of them. I'm not getting rid of any of them, but
oh man. Anyways.
Yeah. The amount that I carried or strollered kids over the weekend. Yeah, I'm definitely in team not doing that.
Nice.
Luckily, the hikes were short. So,
fortunately, the hikes were short.
Yeah. Let's talk about your 87 Montero because it's way better than my new Sequoia. New to me Sequoia.
I don't know. I mean, my Montero has the same reaction to the highway that your Yukon did.
Please no.
But that makes sense for a truck built in 1987 or 86.
Yeah, and with that wheelbase.
106 horsepower or whatever.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's, listen, that's such a great little truck. And I don't know about you guys, but when I was in high school, like there were so many cars that I wanted. It was almost ridiculous. Like every day I felt like it was something else. Like, man, when the Suzuki Samurai came out, that came out when I was a senior in high school or kind of right, like around there. And I was like, oh, I really love that because I had been in love with the and CJ6 or CJ7, and I so loved just that, like, that idea of like going off-roading and being able to, like, with the wind through your hair and all that kind of stuff. And you know, the next week it would be like a Subaru XT, you know, like that super weird wedgie thing that was like, oh my
Nobody's
God.
thought about them since.
Oh, I have. Oh my gosh.
The XT, really?
I'm like, oh.
What?
But you know, I kind of feel like buying cars for me is really hard because I've always traditionally just had one car, and I'm like, oh, I like a bit of this and I like a bit of this, but I like that part off that one and that design off that thing. But you know, since kind of getting more into cars and realizing like, no, it's okay to have more than one car. Like the first one that I bought, the kind of that was sort of, let's call it a vanity car, because it's like not something you actually need, it's just more of a want, was a little 66 Datsun Roadster. And I thought, okay, that checks off the cute little convertible box. And then I just kept thinking about like other cars that I wanted, and I've always loved those boxy off-roaders. So you know, the old two-door G-Wagons high up on my list, like the Discoveries that were just like those boxy square, like amazing things, and
like utilitarian and purposeful, like,
farm vehicles, like, you know, just stuff like that. And of course the Montero was always like, oh, it's just kind of the poor man's version of all of that, which is definitely something more that I can afford. And I was just walking around my neighborhood, and this is probably a year after I'd bought the Datsun, and lo and behold, there's this two-door, you know, Montero that's just sort of like baking in the sun in the San Fernando Valley in some dude's like driveway that's kind of off like a main street, but it was right where I used to walk. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's the perfect color. It was navy, and I love that. Navy blue is my favorite color. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so adorable. And then of course one day, like, a for sale sign goes up in the window, and I'm like, I can't buy another car. I really just bought one. Like, this is nuts. I live in an apartment building. Where am I going to keep it? And months goes by, 3 months, and the sign starts sagging in the windshield, and it's just like you can't even read it anymore because it's like the sun is just like completely faded it out. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna call the guy and just see like what the thing is.
That was the toe in the pool that you, like, if you fell.
Seriously, 2 days later, it was my car.
Oh my God.
It was not a tow, and it was just like, I'm just gonna jump in head first. But you know, this guy, it turns out it's so funny because it was parked next to another car that's covered up. And I always wonder what's under there. Like, that looks amazing. And I asked the dude, and he's like, that's a 250 SL that belonged to Hugh Hefner.
Oh my God.
He lost it in a poker game.
What?
And I'm just like, wait, what? Are you?
That happens? Like, that's real?
It happened. He lost money. He didn't have the money, so we just left the car there and left the keys. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So anyway, so I can't afford that one, obviously. So the Montero was definitely more my jam. And you know, it needed a little bit of stuff, but I ended up getting it for $2,400. And I know it's so stupid. I kind of almost feel bad, but it did need some work for sure. You know, what the bearings were messed up. It needed a new control arm, and on the passenger
pretty minor
side. Yeah. So there were, you know, definitely, like, the tires were basically dust. So it definitely needed some work, but man, the interior was like pristine, amazing.
Dude, if the interior's nice, like, you can deal with some stuff on the outside.
Yeah.
The interior's
Oh
really
my God.
nice.
Yeah, the interior is just pristine. I mean, the inclinometer, like, it still works this way, but it doesn't work this way because it doesn't have the liquid in it anymore. But,
No tilt?
But it won't, yeah. So it doesn't show you the tilt. But yeah, you know, I took it to the guys over at McGuire's, and they cleaned up the paint. I mean, it was so remarkable what they did with it. I couldn't believe it. But the roof and the hood were just way too damaged. So I just had those painted, and my body shop guy, like he did such a great job and matched the paint. So it looks amazing. And it's such a little mountain goat. I mean, that thing, like I took it on the White Rim Trail in Moab, which was, I mean, it absolutely had no problem and was so comfortable. Like it was ridiculous.
That is amazing.
So that trip, actually, it's super funny because that's another, Aaron Robinson, like Haggerty brain trust. I bought my car, and then another buddy of his who also works for Haggerty is like, oh, I just bought an 87 first gen 4Runner. And so like me and Logan are talking about our trucks, and Aaron's like, well, I'm left out now. Like, what the heck? Like, I want one. And so he bought an 87 Samurai.
Nice.
And then he's like, well, we have to do a story about these now. And so we just, I actually have the magazine. I'm going to walk over and get the magazine so I can show you guys.
I think I just found the Instagram post.
Did you? So
yeah.
We had to go to Moab and drive these 3 little things in
that sounds
in the middle.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it was absolutely spectacular. And of course, these are just like these tiny little machines. But man,
they look so great.
Yeah. Chris, can you send that? Can you share that link so I can see it?
So this is
exactly. It looks like old school press photos.
Oh my! Yeah, it looks like 1990.
Right? I mean, amazing. And that's just that kind of, the purchase spawned that trip, and man, that alone was worth it.
Oh no, I need one.
Yeah.
Oh,
no.
Yes, you need one. It's not a want, it's a need. It's a need for sure.
Oh my God.
But listen, like I said, you going up a hill, it's funny because, Emmy Hall just got her off-road Miata.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. It's so awesome. Oh my God, I love it.
So it was down here, and she came to pick it up, and I went out with her and her Rebelle navigator, Rebecca Donaghy, and we went up just to Hungry Valley. And we're in Southern California, and there's a hill to get up into the Hungry Valley. You've got to go over some mountains, and my car is just like, I mean, chugging away, like trying to get up this grade, and she's just like, man, that thing is slow, dude. Yeah. She's like, there's a Prius going faster than you, and I'm like, yeah, I know. Yeah, sorry.
Prius
I think
is cheating.
We got passed by a smart car, and she was like horrified. But it was fun.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I think she just got the Miata re-geared.
She did. She
did?
Re-geared, and spoiler alert, we're actually taking that with that Nissan Pro 4X to Johnson Valley this weekend.
Oh boy.
We will have to pay attention for those posts.
Yeah.
Yes,
oh
you
man.
will. Very exciting. Yeah. She just had like the rear differential redone or something like that. Yeah.
I saw her video on Instagram of her, like, literally, I think she was driving it away from the shop, and as she was accelerating, she was just going, because it was so much quicker than it was before, I think.
Sounds about right.
I think less slow is the appropriate terminology.
Sure. Yeah.
As a Miata owner, you start it less slow.
Yes.
Quicker takes a lot of work.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I have no regrets about the Montero purchase. And there's a really robust community, especially here in Southern California. So it's actually
Jeff was telling us about that
exciting. Yeah, I'm always like, I go onto the Facebook group page, and it's inevitably like on a Monday or Tuesday, and everyone's posting pictures from the cool like Montero meet that was over the weekend, and I'm like, oh, I missed that. All right, sorry.
Well,
maybe next time.
So every time Monteros come up, I bring up my local Craigslist because, Northeast is like everything just rots into the earth. And I just went to open the Craigslist tab that I had open, and the XL7 page that was open almost froze my computer. So
that sounds about right.
It even is upsetting to your browser.
Seriously, it's like, don't do that. Oh man.
Yeah, now we have to give people
Good.
do we have to give people the context about the XL7?
No, I'll have left all that in.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was way too much
no.
fun talking about that beforehand.
Yes.
So, third gen Monteros, what's the deal? Like, I don't really understand.
Gen?
Yeah.
As in like 2000.
Like the 2000, I guess, until they stopped building them.
Is that really more like the Montero Sport?
The smaller ones?
No, the bulbous one, the one that looks like it was overinflated.
Oh yeah. I don't really know much about those. I'm so first gen because I love those those angles that look like a guy designed it with a T-square.
Right.
So third gen would be 99 to 06, Ross.
06, they built it until 2006. So there's still only one first gen Montero on my local Craigslist, and
oh yeah,
it's so cheap, but it's also so broken. I'll share it in the chat.
I mean, they come up quite often.
Yeah, and it's also something that like if you expanded your circle a little more, that would be something that'd be pretty fun to grab and go back. Or drive somewhere else.
I love that gold color. It's so good.
This thing's so shot, though.
Yeah, look at the front end of that. It's just a hot mess.
They drove it into a couple trees and then put the cow bumper on.
Seriously.
Stuck in gear.
What's that chicken wire grill substitution, too? Like what?
Yeah.
And the inside looks like rodents live in it.
It also has the New York license plate that's been out of production. They stopped making those plates like
2 generations ago.
Yeah, you can do better than that.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on.
I feel like you need to change to like Phoenix.
Yeah, Vegas is another really good place to find cars, like on the Craigslist. It's actually cool. The guy that I bought it from, he was a makeup artist, back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and he also had a home in Mexico, and he would drive the Montero back and forth from his home in Mexico to his home here in Southern California, and he just had was having some health issues and just really couldn't maintain the car anymore. So he's like, look, I really want it to go to someone who will love this car. And it's funny because like 2 days later or a day later, the guy called me back and he's like, oh, he was selling it for his friend. He's like, you're lucky that you got it because these 2 other guys came by like asking about it and they were going to offer me double. And I'm like,
oh shit.
The first one's name was Jeff.
Hell, Glucker. Does that sound familiar?
Jeff looked at a number of them, and I'm pretty sure that scenario happened to him a number of times. So there is a chance.
It's weird.
No, I'm sure. But I'm sure those guys were just kind of wanting to flip it maybe. And, I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that with the article in Haggerty magazine, it will up the value of my car.
Well, now it has provenance.
I doubt it. But it's actually a very well-written piece, and it was a lot of fun to participate in. And everybody, I mean, we were all like really stoked that our cars actually made it.
That's the better part, right?
Yeah, come out unscathed.
Without incident. It was pretty cool.
Without incident. I think people underestimate how well just like a standard, not even like remotely like overbuilt or anything, just a stock truck with good tires can do when it's not, 5,000 pounds.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I was following along with all of that until you get to the poundage number, and then because I didn't talk about this in my personal update. I was supposed to go to Iceland in the fall with my dad, and he doesn't want to fly during a pandemic, and I don't blame him for that at all.
Yeah.
And so Iceland has been postponed, but I think we're going to pivot towards like the north rim of the Grand Canyon, and so I think we're going to use the Sequoia to tow a camper trailer, hopefully, and just go chill in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So hopefully my
sounds good.
Regular stock truck is capable enough, and I think it should be we'll just stick to the more
drive by Moab and see the XL7.
It kind of is on the way for our. Yeah, well, it depends on if we go visit Mark at Bean Trailers in Salt Lake City to get a trailer. So then that's the up and then the down to Grand Canyon. I don't know. It's so early stages of planning. It's not.
That's fun. That's going to be great.
Speaking of planning ahead.
Yeah.
Don't you have a rally coming up?
Good segue.
That's an excellent segue. I love it. I do have a rally coming up. Plans for the 2020 Rebelle are still moving forward, and Emily Miller, who is the amazing creator of that event, is out. They're setting the course sort of right now. The great thing about it, even in our current global situation, is that it's not a spectator event. It's very kind of self-contained, and we don't know all the details yet, but we've definitely heard as competitors that they are going to be adding extra measures for the distancing and for health concerns or issues, and it's definitely going to be part of our. We all have to bring a doctor's note anyway, so that's part of our. It's like are you capable of actually doing the performing the tasks that are So obviously it's for indemnifying them, but
yeah, when we had Emmy and Rebecca on, they talked about Rebecca hopping out and running up mountains at times, or sand dunes.
Not just mountains, Oldsmobile Hill in Glamis.
Oh God.
There's a difference between a mountain that's literally moving out from under you.
Exactly.
And fucking massive too.
Massive, but I got to tell you, that's one of the most iconic photos that I've ever seen of the Rebelle, and so it got them a lot of mileage.
Good.
Yeah. So we have that coming up in October, and we're really, really excited. My navigator and I we kind of just locked in and found out that we are again going to be driving for Nissan. We're really
very cool.
Actually looking forward to that. We're not disclosing yet what we're driving. It's a little bit of a secret. Yay! But it's actually pretty cool, and there's some stuff going on that we're really excited about, and when we're able to announce, we're really kind of looking forward to being able to announce. But yeah, it's great. This is the 5th year of the event.
Wow.
Surprisingly, Nissan is the only manufacturer who's participated all 5 years.
Really?
So yeah, we really definitely appreciated their dedication to the event and to women in not just driving but in motorsports, and so yeah, it's pretty cool thing to be a part of.
How modified was the Armada that you guys used last year?
That was my question.
Because it doesn't look like any Armada I've seen before.
It's not so much an Armada.
It was not. Yeah, it's more of like a moving fortress. So we had a 3-inch lift on it. We had 33-inch Nitto ridge grapplers, which were fantastic.
Heard good things.
I didn't get one flat with those tires. Those tires, man. And I've done a lot of stuff on Nittos, and I can't say enough good things about them. I really love those tires. They kind of goosed the engine a little bit. So we had a full, we had a full 300 horsepower in that. I mean, I think now it's probably around 290, I think is sort of stock. But
you guys had the race map.
Yes. And it's funny because we had light bars and we had all kinds of stuff, but really your suspension, your tires, that really is sort of the crucial thing in that event. Hopefully you're not out late at night, and so you need those.
You don't need the light bars.
You're right. Emergency use only, right. Hopefully.
And the funny thing is there were a couple. If you look at some of the pictures later in the competition, there are various lights that are missing off of the.
Yeah.
There's one missing off the roof, and there's one missing off of the front bumper, and so we would be out there kind of gathering our little breadcrumb bits that kind of fell off our truck. But honestly, it was really great. I mean, it was super comfortable. Like, I mean, but it's like driving a barge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really
big trucks.
Huge,
they're big trucks.
Super huge. We had 2 spares on it, so I mean, it was really heavy. That thing is already pretty heavy, but we were probably running like, I don't know, over 6,000 pounds with it.
That's a lot of weight.
A ton of weight, especially when you're in the sand.
A lot of weight in the sand. Oh my God.
A lot of weight in the sand. But the V8, man, I mean, honestly, like, it did really well.
Does it almost become like a momentum vehicle at that point because it is so heavy? Like,
yeah, I mean, I think so. You really have to pick your line. I mean, you really have to be super selective, and that's kind of what we did. I mean, we were very careful. You know, I'm not a super cavalier driver anyway. I'm not that like, well, I bet I can do that. You know, it's like, oh, I can do this over here. Well, I'm probably going to take that line because I know that I'm not going to screw anything up, hopefully.
Those are my Jeep days right there.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, there's a cut around? Oh, I'm taking that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, listen, the only thing you have to prove is that I don't want to die. Like that's
right.
And, you know,
it's really important.
There was a vehicle out there that rolled over, and you know, we just didn't want to be. We didn't want to be that kind of a statistic. So, you know, the good thing about the way that whole event is set up, though, is you have a full week in your vehicle before you get to Glamis, which is a game changer in that event. I mean, we went from, we jumped up, I think, an entire spot. We went from 7th place, maybe even 8th place, up to 6th place because we had such a killer day in the sand dunes last year. And I think we ran 4th for the day, for the entire day. So we had a great day, but I had spent an entire week with that truck, really getting the feel of the throttle, really getting the feel of the gearing and what I needed to do in order to get it where I needed it to be. And it all just kind of worked out really, really perfectly.
I feel like in the sand and with that much weight, like just spending time getting used to weight transfer and where it saddles. So a week's time is good. Have they said anything about like a 2-week or a week-long quarantine with your co-pilot before the start, or is that just assumed?
I would, you know, for me, I mean, I feel like that's pretty assumed. You know, my navigator is she's a preschool teacher, so she's not working. She's not going to be working. And, you know, she has 2 kids who are like young kids. So she really has, you know, kind of stayed at home, and I'm a single person and I don't have a big, you know, family running around. So for me, I'm just home writing. And so I think your propensity anyway has been to just kind of be on our own, but I would have no problem being around her, you know. Listen, I mean, we already have to wear a helmet. I'm not wearing it.
Right.
Sorry, we've been doing Little League all summer, and we just got an email this week. They were like, they want the coaches to wear masks for Little League, and I was like, we're outside. Like,
yeah, there's that part of it too. Is the, you know, the outside
small price for safety.
Like they're sharing catcher's gear.
Everyone in masks.
Yeah, mask underneath the mask.
Like that sweet like visor that just comes down like you're like salad bar sneeze guard.
Yeah.
Halloween.
The best was they were like, yeah, we're going to make you guys wear masks, but we're going to keep the umpire behind the catcher. I was like, how's that? Space him out.
But he's got to be wearing a mask too, I'm sure.
No mask. So, but now they did rethink it. He's going back out behind the pitcher's mound.
Oh, that's good.
So, which helps because it's 3rd grade baseball and nobody can really throw an accurate strike either way. So we actually need a little wiggle room.
That's right.
It was Toto Wolff. I was trying to remember who it was that was wearing the mask.
Shield?
Yeah.
Full face shield, right?
Full. Everybody else is just masked up, and he's sitting there like.
Isn't part of the mask like
Toto Wolff doesn't mess around?
Seriously.
I thought the mask was like to prevent you from going out, but also to prevent you from possibly inhaling stuff through the fabric as well.
It is.
His mask was working to prevent him from sneezing or coughing it out, but it was not. They know how to win races.
Yeah. Well.
That's right. The best or nothing.
Touche.
If you ain't first, you're last. We've been
Did
over.
it have a Mercedes logo on it? Like, was it an AMG map?
And it's lit up. It's the Mercedes emblem with the light up logo.
Oh, the light up. Oh,
not just the mask. This is the AMG of mask. Yeah.
Every time I see the light up logo, I
cringe.
Somebody just spent a lot of money for no reason.
Cringe.
But yeah, I mean, we're definitely anticipating that all of those kinds of safety elements will be covered.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
I would hope so.
They're already pretty diligent about it and
about safety.
About safety. Yeah. I mean, the crew that they have there is absolutely amazing. So yeah.
So I have a question on like how did you meet your co-driver, and because the orienteering side of it is the part of the rally that is terrifying to me. So how do these individuals exist?
Listen, that's the part of the whole thing that wins the thing.
Right. Yeah. That's the part that's the scariest to me.
Right.
You don't need me. Like my mom could do the driving. Like, which it's not necessarily the case, but, yeah, the thing about the Rebelle to me is really it's won or lost with your navigator and the skill of your navigator. And the other part of it is like you can be really great, like plotting points on a map and doing that at your kitchen table. But until you get out into the world and you're looking at the topo lines on your map and you're literally seeing what's on here out there, that is the skill to me, is being able to translate those things. My teammate, her name is Sedona, and she's a 100% Rebelle, so that means she's done every single year.
Wow.
Just like Emmy and Rebecca. And Rebecca has a lot of experience with sailing navigation, and
that's
that
what she said.
also,
Yeah.
like really, I mean, super
it helps. I'm sure it helps.
Sedona was a mom, and like her husband is super outdoorsy, and they did a lot of stuff, but he would do most of the driving, and she just kind of knew that she liked it. But she came into it with little or no experience, and she kind of took a class, learned how to do navigation. And, listen, when you come into it at that skill level, like you're not expecting to win, you're just expecting to finish. And like that in itself is just a huge accomplishment. But man, by the third year, that was when I met her in 2017 was the first time that I did the Rebelle. And I had a super tough time. My navigator and we just did not really click and connect. And there was a lot of really kind of tough personal stuff that went on inside the Jeep. It was intense. And but I met Sedona and her navigator at that point, Leah, and they were just like such sweet, kind people who were just lovely, just the people you want to hang out with. And so the next year in 2018, when I just went and covered it as a journalist, their team Wild Grace was one of the teams that I covered. I was looking for stock vehicles mostly because as working for Kelly Blue Book, that was what was of interest to us.
Right.
And so I covered the team that did it in the Honda Ridgeline, I think. The Honda Ridgeline, and then the Armada. And of course the Armada that they drove that year was totally stock.
Huh.
Oh my God.
Stock Armada. Yeah, which honestly, like a little more challenging because that air suspension just was not
doesn't cooperate. Yeah.
It was not hardy enough. I think they blew their rear bags like on day 3 or 4. But you know what?
Even like stock tires, he's like fully stock, like even showroom tires.
So in order to be in the bone stock designation, you can't change anything except tires. So they did have better tires on there. That's the only thing, Emmy did it in the Cullinan, but that's just because she's crazy.
Right. And because I think she said they couldn't find tires. They ended up getting like snow tires.
With like the hub, like the the Rolls Royce. Yeah. So she was on snow tires, which is just nuts. But yeah, even with their compromised suspension, Sedona and her teammate Leah finished 11th in the field, which I thought was unbelievably impressive. A field of over 40 cars. And
with failed suspension.
Yeah, with no rear suspension, that's pretty solid.
And I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, like, what's going on?
The back is tired.
Exactly. And so I interviewed her, and you know, we saw each other at Overland Expo, probably in May of 2019. And she just kind of came over to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, my last experience was almost traumatic. Like, it was really, like, you can watch the video that I made. I did it for the drive. I covered it for the drive, and it was, how do I say this? It was not something I wanted to duplicate. Like, I was just like, look, if I ever do that event again, it's going to be with, like, the planets have to be perfectly aligned. And Sedona just kind of came up next to me, and, you know, I think Emily was doing like a little speech, something about, you know, new rebels, and she's like, you know, so Leah is pregnant.
Oh no.
And she's going to have a baby
opting out
in, like, I don't know, a couple months, and she may not be ready to come back in October. Would you be interested in potentially driving with me? And it was one of those instances where in the moment you're just like, in your head, you're like, oh yeah, that's it.
This is going to work.
That's totally the right scenario that was supposed to happen. And I was like, oh yeah, that sounds interesting, you know, because who knows, Leah might have decided that she was ready and that she could go. And then probably like 5 or 6 weeks later, I got a call. She, you know, checked with Nissan, and luckily I have a great relationship with Wendy Orthman, who was head of Nissan, you know, truck PR at the time. And they were like, we'd love Lyn to be a part of it, and that would be great. And she reached out and she just said, would you be interested? I think this was maybe 2 months before the rally. And I was like, I'm totally in, 100%. And the thing is like, I mean, we couldn't have gotten along better. You know, there was not one moment in the car. And that's like, you're spending literally 24 hours with one person for 8 or 9 days. So
the stars aligned.
Aligned so perfectly. And like, she's just as goofy as I am. She's a total like theater kid like I was. So we were singing, like, we were singing weird, like,
it's like best friends road trip.
Show tunes, like when we had on long transits, just to like kind of release the pressure. But it was great. And every day that we were just like, we got locked in super early and just stayed there. And both of us were like, what's happening? Like, we're eights, dude. Like, what the hell? Like,
it's the kind of thing that NASA's looking for when they're putting astronaut crews together. Like,
yes.
That's what you guys are. You just kept working the problem. Just keep working it.
Right.
See, I was going to say in Step Brothers when they go, did we just become best friends? But, you know, NASA, Step Brothers.
Fine, but totally cool. No, like, if NASA's looking for someone to drive the next lunar lander, like, Sedona and I are in.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really happy to be back with her. I actually just I wrote a story about our experience for Overland Journal, which will be coming out like literally any day. So if anyone can get their hands on that magazine, it's I
need to renew it.
The fall issue of 2020.
Sweet.
And the imagery, like, here's the thing, like, Emily hires just like the most insanely talented people to run it and to cover it. So she gets these photographers like Nicole Drian and Tim Calver. I mean, these guys who are just like unbelievably insane shooters that, I mean, it blows my mind. There's a guy, Paolo, who flies in from Italy to do it every year. He shoots King of the Hammers with her too. And Tim lives in Kenya and he comes to shoot because his underwater stuff is amazing. Like, it's absolutely incredible. Another guy named Richard Giordano, who you may know him. He and his wife, Ashley, they have an Instagram blog, Death to Glory.
So
I heard of that.
I was waiting for you to pause. I was like, I'm pretty sure future guests of the show.
Yeah.
We have them scheduled soon.
Yes.
Heard of
He's
it.
incredible. And so the imagery that you get out of this stuff, I mean, last year we were in places like the Trona Pinnacles, which you literally, looks like you're just, and let's be on an episode of Star Trek.
Right.
So it's insane the things that we get to look at when we're there. If you do it right and you really do like kind of look around you in the moment, you can see some really, I mean, just absolutely spectacular things. Emily managed to get permits last year for the first time in Death Valley, and we got to drive through Death Valley, and it was just like, I mean, things that to me are just like the most spectacular things. And so great. And the beauty of it, again, like Sedona proved, you don't have to be a professional off-roader or navigator. You just need basic skills. And, you know, usually the car that's in your driveway, even a crossover that has, you know, that has all-wheel drive, can do the rally. Like there's a 4x4 class, but there's also a crossover class. And it's such an extraordinary event. And it's such I think a unique opportunity for women who really don't have a lot of outlets or exposure maybe to off-roading, or like there's, you know, their man is like, I'm going to ride my, you know, I'm going to do it. You're not doing it right. And it really is an opportunity for women to just kind of come out and learn things, you know, get skills and have a great time, because this is such a beautiful space, and it's really just a unique and a wonderful event.
It seems like it, and it seems like a genuinely good platform that's building. I mean, it never had to fight for credibility, but it's also just building in viewership base and how prevalent it is in the media. And it's awesome to see that, instead of just more dudes going, oh, bro, you know, trucks, 4x4s, bro.
I mean, honestly, like, I know that a lot of people were like, Rolls Royce. I thought it was absolutely inspired that they participated last year.
It's pretty funny.
You know, it's like such an unusual story. Like, what? Are you serious? But it's such an incredible proving ground for cars. Like, I don't know why way more automakers don't like go, oh, me, like, right. We need a Defender in there. We need the Bronco in there. We need like these trucks. Like, come on.
Anybody that offers like a serious 4x4.
Exactly. Yeah.
Chris, what'd you say?
The Bentayga.
The Bentayga.
Oh my gosh.
Needs to show up. They ran Pikes Peak.
Why wouldn't they? You know what I mean? Like that would be perfectly capable of doing it.
There's a Mitsubishi Eclipse Crossport in here. Like, why not?
Yes. That team was amazing, because that was the first adaptive athlete to ever participate in the Rebelle. She was technically a quadriplegic, so she's wheelchair bound. She does still have use of her hands. It's a genetic condition that she has, and she was former military, and she was the driver, and absolutely an unbelievable story. And
that's inspiring.
Completely tip my hat to Mitsubishi, because they adapted the car for her, and holy shit, they kicked ass.
Yeah, I've been on the trail a couple times with people who have hand controls. I cannot imagine like the mental strength it takes to do that. That's fucking wild.
Yeah. And there's so much there is a lot of pressure in the event, but this girl, Kara Barron, who was the adaptive athlete, absolutely amazing. If you don't follow her on Instagram, you totally should. Kind of a quad.
Kind of a quad.
Yeah, she's unbelievable.
Okay, following.
Yeah.
So prepping for something like this, because I've been literally, I searched Rebelle Rally 2019. I've just been rolling through images. Like, if you had to choose winch or traction boards?
Boards. 100%.
Boards?
Max Tracks, 100%.
We know a guy who does those.
Yeah, we do.
Huh?
Our friend Matt Scott?
No, not Matt Scott. His name is Adam Shallow.
Oh.
He is Overland History on Instagram, Overland_history, I think.
Okay, cool.
But he just went from Blue Ridge Overland out to the company that imports them in Phoenix or Prescott.
Prescott, yeah. Prescott. Yeah. Then his boss is Matt Scott.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Matt's one of the good guys. Like that guy's he's awesome. Yeah, boards for sure. Because here's the thing, boards will work for you in so many different situations.
Mm-hmm.
Like they work for you in sand, but if you need to get over rocks, if you need to bridge over something, like they're just, to me, they're really versatile.
Yeah, I saw images of them being used to bridge. Like that's pretty impressive for what looks like plastic.
I've seen that in Canada a lot, in like washouts.
Well, I think it depends on which ones you get, because if you get the cheesy, cheapo knockoffs, you're going to snap those things in half. But
goes so wrong so quick.
Right? You're like, oh. Yeah, you don't want to cheap out on your recovery gear, guys. Like,
yeah, no.
You really want to buy the best.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm evaluating the 4-digit winch versus.
Yes.
Start with boards.
I've definitely seen a winch used in the sand, but I've seen Max Track used more.
Okay.
And for me, like I would that's where I would go.
Just seems easier to use in general.
They're yeah, that's the thing. They're easier to use. Mm-hmm. And what if you've got nothing to winch with?
Right.
What if you're just out there in the middle of the sand dunes and you're all by yourself?
I think I agree, with the exception of mud. In the mud, which is predominantly what we deal with here, other than rocks.
Yeah, but you have enough
winches.
Trees.
We do have a lot of trees. That's true.
There are locations I am in where there are no trees.
That's 100% valid. Then you get one of those weird spike things that you like hammer into the earth, and you like
the land anchor.
Yeah, land anchor.
Oh, that sounds hardcore.
Yeah, no, we have a lot of trees.
They look scary.
They certainly are.
Nice.
So,
all right.
You just posted a picture, actually, of one of the things I wanted to talk about, and how you ended up in an old Willis Jeep in France.
Oh my goodness! Yes.
So, and I was also recently just with my family member who is a huge D-Day. He was there last summer as well. They flew in. Yeah, he and his wife, and then a childhood friend and his wife. They spent, I'm gonna say, a week just around Normandy, and they stayed in a cottage kind of thing. And he told me all about it again this last weekend.
That was actually an extraordinary experience. You know, I come from a very military family. My dad went to West Point. My brother was in the 101st Airborne during the Second Gulf War and did a tour in Iraq and Kuwait. And you know, my grandfather was in the RAF. He was a pilot, and my grandmother even drove ambulances in London during the Blitz. So, you know, I've long time history in my family of military service, and I've always wanted to go to the celebration of D-Day. My brother actually, when he was still active duty, went out to go shoot. He's a photographer and a photojournalist, and he went to go document it and shoot it. And you know, once again, my lovely adventurous friends Aaron and Tina Robinson, they had been out twice before. So Aaron loves to buy like military vehicles,
like old ambulances and shit like that. Yeah. I remember that story.
Like, he's a huge military buff, but then he'll like use that as an excuse to go out and buy like a car and be like, oh, I have to do a story. Like, I can't travel unless I buy a vehicle.
Write it off. Just so he can write it off.
Totally. Like, he's that guy, and we love that guy, right? Like, that guy is a genius.
That's how that guy gets a plane.
Seriously.
The first year that they went, they had a Jeep, and then he sold that when they were out there. And then the second time they went, they bought an old Dodge ambulance. And that one they actually shipped back here, because I think Tina said something specifically like, I will go with you again, but we need a car with sides on it. Like, in the weather in Normandy at that time, it's not ideal. It's not great. Super balmy, nice. Right. And so, of course, last year was the 75th anniversary of D-Day, which, you know, such an incredible story. If you don't know the history, definitely go and, you know, even look at the Wikipedia page, because it's pretty remarkable. And I thought, you know what, if I'm not going to do it now, like, when are you going to do this? Because the veterans there are so few of them anymore. You know, these guys are in their 90s if they're still living, and they invited a bunch of people to come, and they were like, you know, listen, we've done this by ourselves. Like, ain't no romance. Like, we're ready to, like, just come, all the people come over. And so Aaron's good friend is was in the foreign service, and he was stationed out in Ireland. And so he went out, and I went out, and we had Amy Shore, who is an absolutely incredible photographer. If you don't follow her on Instagram, you should follow her on Instagram. She's English, and she does some bomb stuff. I mean, she is just so great. And so it was the 5 of us, and we, you know what, he bought this Jeep in England, and he and Tina drove it out there. I mean, literally, like, as it was getting on the ferry to go to Normandy, he checked the oil, and there was no oil in it, like none, zero. And he's like, "Oh my God, like, what, like, how the fuck did this happen?" Sorry if I just shouldn't have said that word.
No, you're good.
You're good.
We put the E on it. You're fine.
Okay, good. They put olive oil in it because they couldn't find any, like, they couldn't
Oh
find
my God.
their motor oil. No one was like, everyone's like, no, this is mine. I'm hoarding this because when mine breaks, I need it. They put olive oil in it. It just enough to, like, get them up the ramp and onto the boat so they could actually, like, get onto the dang boat. And once they were on the boat, they found someone else who gave them some oil. And after that, it was fine. Like, no leak,
That's wild.
no idea how it happened or what happened. I mean, it was just like just unbelievable.
Like somebody went to change it before they sold it and just forgot to refill it?
I don't know. It was one of those, like, mystery Marvel things of your life. You're like, how? Who cares?
That's also sounds like a very Aaron Robinson story to have happen.
Oh yeah.
Total.
Oh yeah.
And the whole week was like that. I mean, we got there, and it's literally like, you go into it, and I certainly did, thinking it was going to be this really somber, very reverential thing, but it's more of a celebration, and it's so many Europeans. So this is not like a bunch of Americans that are out there. It's these guys. It's like, you know, John Wayne fantasies come to life. Like, it's crazy. These guys are, like, decked out. I mean, these Czech guys, French, British, like, German. I mean, everybody is just there.
Right.
They're in period costumes. They're in their military vehicles, and it's literally like this huge party. This big
Is it kind of a Goodwood vibe?
Oh, that's what I was gonna say.
It's totally Goodwood, but
beat me to
like
the punch.
World War II.
So it's
That's
Radwood,
amazing.
but for World War II cosplay.
It is the most amazing. Yeah, it is a week-long military car show. It's absolutely unbelievable. And, you know, there's a part of you that's like, should we be, like, having fun? Like,
right. It's not celebrating, like,
It's a super sad day, too.
yeah, it's not like a happy.
super crazy. Like, yeah, of course. How many thousands? Like 3,000 guys died the fucking first day. Like, I mean, that's insane. But you know what? That is, I think, to me, by the end of the week, it became so clear that was the whole purpose of what they were there doing.
They're celebrating the achievement.
The ability to celebrate what that then caused, and what that saved is people being able to, you know, celebrate in the way that they want to, go buy like crazy cars and dress up the way that they want to. And it was so spectacular. And yes, there definitely is that reverential part of it. We were on Omaha Beach on the morning of June the 6th, at the same time that the first wave would have come onto the beach. And it was, I mean, one of the most, like, significant and moving moments, you know, because you really think, like, holy cow, like, I can't imagine what was going through their minds when they were looking at what they were looking at, just this fortress that was France. And yeah, it was an unbelievably significant trip, and I'm so happy that I said yes. It was one of those, like, on the whim kind of scenarios, but what an extraordinary experience. I actually got to write about that also for Overland Journal. so Aaron's best friend who was with us, his grandfather, Eddie Carnegie, and I think was his name. He was in the 115th. No, he was in the 82nd Airborne, the 115th Regiment, and we traced his footsteps, what would have been his footsteps.
Oh wow, that's amazing that they can actually do that.
Right, on Google. So I have this amazing book that has like all the histories of battlefields, and you can actually go there and look for for old German pillboxes, and you really just go sort of search out old bunkers and look for look for old landmarks. And we followed the trajectory of their trip on Google. Listen, it takes 45 minutes to drive, but for them it took them 3 months to get from one spot to the other, and they just countless injuries, but doing it in a Jeep and driving it in that vehicle was it was just unbelievably remarkable.
Like a once in a lifetime experience.
100%. And that being said, I hope Aaron's lunatic enough to go buy another Jeep and we go do it again.
Hopefully one with oil.
We'll bring extra oil this time. I mean, we were out there, like so we had problems with the accelerator, and I went and changed the gas pedal on the, on it, and you're doing it with like a paper clip and a thing, like they would have back.
Whatever works, yeah.
Yeah, so that was super cool.
Period. Correct fixes.
Yes.
Dude, man, that's awesome. That's amazing.
That is not a comfortable vehicle to drive around.
Yeah. It also very much doesn't have sides.
No, there's not much to that car at all.
That's how they fit in the crates.
Cool.
Yeah, but for a purchase with the stipulation of having sides, it really doesn't.
Well, but that was the second time. Sorry, I told you that the light was going to die in my house because we were talking so long. The stipulation that was for the here, I'll sit down and maybe
the Dodge.
That was for the Dodge. Yeah, that was for the
ambulance.
Ambulance.
Second with the ambulance, but this one was special because this one actually, Haggerty really wanted to add a Jeep to their fleet.
Right.
So that's what this was for. And now the Jeep that we took is in the Haggerty museum.
So
very cool.
Is it an original Jeep or was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's one from the era that was restored kind of thing.
Correct. We looked it up, and I have this amazing book of all the they're not really VIN numbers, but I looked up all of the
serial numbers.
The serial numbers of them, and I think we figured it was probably like a later model, so it was like a 1945 or 46 when it was made. But yeah, holy cow. And that book actually is really interesting because it goes through all the modifications that vehicle went through while it was in production. Like, the little blocks that are on the top of the hood. Like those used to be wood, but they realized that the wood would crack and it would split. So they changed them to rubber, like for the engine blocks on it. So just little tiny things like that. Like they changed it from a keyed starter to a push button starter, so people wouldn't lose keys.
Oh wow! Just like trial by
fire.
By fire, yeah, actual fire.
Literally.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's it. That's actually a fascinating. If you really dig deep into the history of that vehicle, it's absolutely fascinating. And cool. I almost cool. I see Jeep doing a lot of that stuff today because I do think that they take customer feedback pretty seriously when they're in development. So it was really the same kind of thing. Like they added brackets on it so that they could put a stretcher on it for injured soldiers.
Oh, that's somber. Useful, but somber.
Yeah.
Jeep, useful but somber.
Right?
My grandfather was a corpsman in Korea, and that's what he talked about was they just used Jeeps. Like they didn't always have ambulances. They just threw them wherever they could get them.
Yeah. And listen, those things were so, I mean, honestly, so absolutely indestructible that the Germans at one point were ordered to steal as many Jeeps as humanly possible because theirs sucked in comparison.
That's funny.
Yeah. Indestructible things.
Which is funny because Volkswagen still doesn't have like a proper off-roader. Like,
no. It's crazy.
The Amarok?
Yeah. The Schwimmerwagen? No.
We don't even get.
The Touareg was good. The first one.
Yeah, Touareg does okay.
Don't want to fix it once something goes wrong.
Is the Touareg the one that you could get with like the V10 diesel?
Yes, with all the torque.
Yeah.
And if you can find one now.
My daily driver is a Jetta wagon, and it's expensive.
Right. Yeah, they're not. No, nothing on them is cheap.
Yeah, they're not wallet friendly.
No. No, they are not.
Well, sweet.
Sweet is right.
So Ross is about to become a pumpkin.
Oh, it's late.
Yeah.
It's so late. I don't even know what
it's late. It's late o'clock.
8 o'clock.
The glory of the East Coast to West Coast podcast is that one of us has to suffer always.
Yay! Yep. I'm so
That's
sorry.
Okay.
But honestly, this was so much fun.
It was. Thank you for joining us.
Definitely have to have you back on after you can talk more about whichever you're going to drive for Nissan.
Honestly, that would be a really good idea because you guys will want to hear. You'll want to hear about it for sure.
Yes, please.
It's compelling. I think it's compelling anyway.
Well,
so
I look forward to it.
Everything else you've kind of led us down the path of being interesting. We've all agreed with. So yes, we're going to trust you on this one too.
All right.
You can follow Lyn on Instagram at Lyn Woodward, but it's at
2 underscores.
2 underscores. Man, I missed that on here.
It's hard to tell. And the person who has Lyn Woodward does nothing. And I've tried so hard to reach out and be like, hey.
Can I please have this?
No.
So
yeah, and 1 N in Lyn and 2 underscores Woodward.
Yep, Woodward's normal. The way you would normally spell it.
Yeah.
The way Woodward and Bernstein would spell it. Yes.
Exactly. So, and you can see her video reviews on KBB.
Yep. Kelly Blue Book. Go to the YouTube channel. Check it out. It's me and Micah Musio. We split duties on that, and we have a lot of fun doing it. It's great.
And it's
cool.
Not all off-road stuff. Sometimes it's supercars.
Sometimes it's regular cheapo cars.
Just regular cars.
We get to do everything.
Yeah. Just normal people cars.
Blue Book, you literally get to do everything.
We do everything, and I love it.
I think the playlist right now is literally Wrangler, Cadillac XT5, Telluride, Nissan Versa, Elantra to the Buick Encore GX is the top right now.
Yes. Well, but don't forget we have a lot of big things. So the Ford F-150 video just came out, but we've got the Bronco coming up. We've got an LC 500 convertible coming up. Very fancy.
Ooh.
The Chevy Trailblazer embargo's lifting soon, so we'll talk about driving that. So excited.
Chris's face.
Well, she did mention earlier any crossover with an all-wheel drive system is a good off-road vehicle. Yeah.
Well, at least it could do the Rebelle.
It could do the Rebelle, which is pretty extreme. Like
it's pretty impressive. They do have just to be clear, they do have a separate route than the
for the crossovers
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No monster sand dunes in a Trailblazer, a new Trailblazer.
Pretty much sticking to the outside of the dunes. Like you're not really
all the go-arounds. Yeah.
That's right.
Sweet.
Cool.
Ross,
awesome.
Where can we find Ross's stuff?
Mostly on Hooniverse and Everyday Driver next week. Well, this week when this podcast goes out.
On Everyday Driver or Hooniverse?
On Everyday Driver and Hooniverse whenever I feel like it. Sorry, Jeff.
You ride as much as you get paid for them, so that's fine.
I guess.
He admitted to not paying us on the show, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
There you go.
Yeah. So technically, Right, more than I get paid.
Yes, exactly.
So get what you pay for.
Ross on Instagram is at no, not like the one from Friends, because it's the world's longest Instagram handle.
Sad.
Never.
Yeah, I think that's the only reason I'm keeping it at this point is it's easy to identify.
There you go.
And I am at Overlanding Dad on Twitter and Instagram. And that's our show.
That is
sweet.
The show.